Most people think building a successful business is about working harder. It is not. There are people grinding 14 hours a day making barely any money, while other businesses print cash almost automatically. Why? Because some businesses are fundamentally better than others. That is the truth. Nobody tells beginners. Have the business model matters more than motivation. And if I had to start over from zero today, there are only 5 things I would look for before building any company. These are the advantages that make businesses easier to scale, more profitable, and far less stressful to run. And once you understand them, you stop chasing random ideas and start thinking like an investor. So let us start with the most important one. 1. Sticky. The best businesses are the ones customers never want to leave. Because if people buy once and disappear, you do not own a business. You own a treadmill. You are forced to wake up every month hunting for new customers just to stay alive. And eventually, that becomes exhausting. Now imagine 2 companies. Company A gets 0 new customers every year, but loses almost all of them. Company B gets the same 0 customers, but most stay 4 years. Which business would you rather own? Obviously, the second one, because recurring customers create compounding growth. Every customer you gain keeps paying you again and again. That is how real wealth is built. This is why companies like Netflix, Amazon Prime, banks, insurance companies, and software businesses become so powerful. Once customers enter the ecosystem, they usually stay. And the longer they stay, the easier the business becomes. Because eventually your growth stops, depending entirely on new sales. Your past work keeps paying you into the future. That is the dream. Most entrepreneurs focus on acquisition. The smartest ones obsess over retention, because retention creates stability, and stability creates freedom. 2. The second thing I would look for is margin, because revenue is meaningless if the business keeps eating all the money. A company doing $100 million a year can still struggle financially if the margins are terrible, and most people learn this too late. This is why software businesses are so valuable. Once the product is built, selling to 1 customer or 1 million customers barely changes the cost. That is incredible economics. Now compare that to restaurants. Every extra customer means more labor, more inventory, more operations, more overhead. Growth becomes expensive. That is why some businesses look successful on social media, but behind the scenes, they are barely profitable. Revenue looks impressive. Margins create wealth, and businesses with strong margins have advantages everywhere. They can hire better talent, outspend competitors, survive downturns, scale faster, and reinvest aggressively. This is why industries like software, media, digital products, education, and data become incredibly profitable. Because the cost to deliver value at scale is low, while the upside is massive. 3. Growing markets. This one changes everything. Never build in a market that is dying, because even if you are talented, you are still fighting against gravity. Think about newspapers, cable television, traditional retail stores. Those industries are shrinking. And shrinking industries force businesses into survival mode. Now compare that to AI, cybersecurity, healthcare, creator businesses, e-commerce, and online education. These industries are exploding. Demand is already increasing every year. And when you build in a growing market, momentum works in your favor. Even average businesses can grow quickly, because the market itself is pulling them upward. That is powerful. The smartest entrepreneurs do not just pick businesses. They position themselves where the future is going, because timing can multiply effort, and being early in the right market can change your life. 4. Easy to scale. Some businesses become harder every time they grow. Others become easier. And this matters more than most people realize. Take YouTube as an example. One video can reach 100 people, or 100 million people. The effort is almost the same. That is leverage. Now compare that to a restaurant chain. Every new location means more employees, more rent, more management, more systems, and more problems. The business becomes heavier as it grows. That is operational complexity, and complexity slows everything down. This is why scalable businesses are so attractive. Software, content, media, digital products. These businesses can grow massively without needing massive increases in cost or effort. And the simpler the system, the faster you can move. Smart founders do not just ask, "How much money can this make?" They ask, "What happens when this business gets 10 times bigger?" Because complexity destroys speed, and speed matters. 5. Unique. And finally, the best businesses are hard to replace. Because if anyone can copy what you do, competition becomes brutal, and eventually the only thing left to compete on is price. That is a dangerous game. The strongest businesses have a moat, something unique, something competitors cannot easily duplicate. Sometimes it is technology, sometimes it is distribution, sometimes it is brand, sometimes it is trust. Look at Apple. They do not just sell phones. They sell status, identity, and ecosystem. Nike does not just sell shoes. They sell emotion and aspiration. Coca-Cola does not just sell soda. They sell familiarity built over generations. That is why branding is so powerful, because people do not buy products logically. They buy emotionally. And the stronger the emotional connection, the harder you are to replace. The best businesses stop becoming commodities. They become categories of their own. Ending. Now the truth is, you will probably never find a business with all 5 advantages. Very few exist. But even finding 1 or 2 can completely change your future. So if I were starting from scratch today, I would look for a business where customers stay for years, margins are strong, the market is growing, scaling is simple, and competitors cannot easily replace me. Because the goal is not just to make money. The goal is to build a machine that keeps working even when you are not. That is what real business is. Not constant stress, not constant survival, not trading time for money forever. Real business creates leverage. Real business compounds. And the right business can change your entire life. So before you start your next company, ask yourself one question. Am I building something that gets stronger with time, or something that depends on me forever?